Thank you for participating in the Performance Level Descriptor Review meeting for the STAAR Alternate 2 Reading Language Art Assessment. Let's get started. The purpose of this training is to explain what performance level descriptors are and why they play an important role in assessments, to describe the development and review process for the PLDs, and provide you with some things to consider before the meeting on November 4th. The first question that you may be asking is, what are performance level descriptors? To answer this question, let's imagine a group of students taking a test. It could be a math test, a college entrance test, or even a driving test. The performance of the students who took this test would likely range from lower performance to higher performance and everything in between. What we want to do is classify or define the performance of the students on this test. One way that we can classify student performance on an assessment is with performance levels. The performance levels could simply be pass and does not pass, like on a driving test, or on a classroom test, the well-known letter grades of A, B, C, and F. Whatever the labels are, the performance levels classify student performance on an assessment into distinct groups. For the STAAR Alternate 2 assessment, there are 3 performance levels: developing academic performance, satisfactory academic performance, and accomplished academic performance. One way to understand performance levels is by providing policy definitions for them. For the STAAR Alternate 2 performance levels, accomplished, satisfactory, and developing, policy definitions have been already developed. There is a lot to read on this slide, so a document with the information is included in your resources. For accomplished, the definition states that students are well prepared for the next grade or course, with instructional supports for accessing the curriculum through prerequisite skills. With support, students in this category have a high likelihood of showing progress in the next grade or course. For satisfactory, the definition states that students are sufficiently prepared for the next grade or course, with instructional supports for accessing the curriculum through prerequisite skills. With continued support, students in this category have a reasonable likelihood of showing progress in the next grade or course. For developing, students are insufficiently prepared for the next grade or course and need additional instructional support for accessing the curriculum through prerequisite skills. Even with continued support, students in this category are in need of significant intervention to show progress in the next grade or course. The way that we determine which students are classified into each performance level for a specific assessment are through performance level descriptors. The performance level descriptors, or PLDs, define what students should know and be able to demonstrate on an assessment to be classified into each performance level. For the STAAR Alternate 2 assessment, the TEKS curriculum frameworks define what students should learn and be able to demonstrate on the STAAR Alternate 2 test. The curriculum framework documents lists the strands and student expectations tested for reading language arts at grade 3 through English 2. It also lists access points in the form of prerequisite skills that link to the student expectations on the vertical alignment document. The PLD development and review process requires an alignment to the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills, or TEKS. The curriculum framework document lists the reporting categories, RLA strands, and prerequisite skills tested in each grade and subject or high school course. The curriculum framework for reading language arts are included in the set of resources you are receiving prior to the meeting date. Additionally, the TEKS vertical alignment document for reading language arts provides a complete listing of the TEKS curriculum from kindergarten through English 2 to show the progression of skills across the grades. Here is the link for all subject areas. Vertical alignment documents will be provided at the meeting on November 4th. Performance level descriptors define what students at each performance level should know and be able to demonstrate on an assessment. They can be helpful in these ways. The PLDs help interpret student performance on the assessment. If a student is classified into the satisfactory performance level based on his or her STAAR alternate 2 results, he or she is likely able to demonstrate the skills listed in the descriptors under that performance level. Remember, the PLDs provide a snapshot of what could be expected regarding what students know and may be able to demonstrate. Because the PLDs describe expected student performance at each performance level, they can also assist in planning instruction for a student. If a student is classified into the developing performance level, based on the STAAR alternate 2 results, the PLDs can help the teacher identify what knowledge and skills a student needs in order to progress into the satisfactory performance level. Also, the PLDs are an essential part of establishing the cut scores for each of the performance levels on the assessment through a process called standard setting. The work you will do will help TEA prepare for standard setting for the Reading Language Arts assessment. Okay, now back to the PLDs. So, what do completed PLDs actually look like? This is an example of the Grade 5 Alternate 2 PLDs for Grade 5 Mathematics, developed in 2015, after the Math TEKS were revised. Let's discuss the PLD development and review process. As stated earlier, the PLDs are based on the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills, or TEKS. The first step in developing PLDs is to reference the state's academic standards. For STAAR Alternate 2, we will reference the Curriculum Frameworks documents. Next, the performance levels and policy definitions have already been developed. They apply to all content areas of STAAR Alternate 2. They are included in the resources you received. Then, content experts from TEA and Pearson created a set of draft PLDs using the curriculum frameworks and the performance levels and policy definitions. For the step in purple, we conduct a teacher review of the draft PLDs and collect recommendations to ensure that these draft PLDs accurately communicate expectations for each performance level. This is the task you have been asked to participate in. Finally, the recommendations from the teacher review will be provided to TEA, and revisions will be made to the PLDs to address the teacher's comments. During the meeting, we'll go through 3 steps in our review of the PLDs. In the grade level groups, you will review the drafts individually or in small groups. You'll take notes with your ideas and recommendations. Then, the entire grade level group will discuss these recommendations and determine a single set of teacher recommendations for the PLDs for each of the grade levels and strands. At the end of the grade level meeting, all grades will come back together. You will have the opportunity to review the PLDs across all grades and determine whether the alignment across the grades makes sense. There will be time to make recommendations to improve the vertical articulation of the PLDs across the grades. As a teacher, you will use your expertise in curriculum and working with students who take the STAAR Alternate 2 assessment. You will review the draft performance level descriptors that have been developed for the STAAR Alternate 2 Reading Language Arts assessments. Then, you will provide recommendations for revisions to the draft PLDs to help create a set of expectations that may be used during the standard setting meeting for the STAAR Alternate 2 RLA assessment. And then finally, you will analyze the PLDs across grades for reasonable and appropriate coherence. So, in preparation for the upcoming in-person PLD review meeting, what else do you need to know? When developing PLDs for a population of students, we must consider any special needs or circumstances that the students bring to their instructional and assessment settings, such as the students make up only 1% of the student population and possess the most significant cognitive disabilities. The students demonstrate a broad range of abilities and disabilities. The students require extensive, direct, individualized instruction, as well as a need for substantial supports that are neither temporary nor specific to a particular content area. The STAAR Alternate 2 assessment assesses grade level skills through prerequisite skills. The STAAR Alternate 2 PLDs will be unique to this assessment and do not necessarily relate to the STAAR PLDs. And these and many other considerations are important to remember when we talk about the specific knowledge and skills students typically demonstrate at each performance level. When we meet on November 4, we'll discuss this in more depth. You have been provided with these materials to review prior to our meeting: the STAAR Alternate 2 performance levels and policy definitions, the TEKS curriculum frameworks for RLA for each grade that you will be working on. Prior to our meeting, please take some time to become familiar with the curriculum frameworks document. Some of you may be already very familiar with the curriculum frameworks. Thank you for your participation in this important task. We look forward to seeing you on November 4th at the PLD review meeting.